we got some life in this thing. Oh no. All right, we've got Porsche round 2 going. This one is going to be, I'm gonna see if the smoke will subside. And then after that, the next step will be chosen for us. If it will subside, cool. If not, we're still gonna try something before even looking at a full rebuild of this thing, because 'tis a Porsche engine, it's not cheap. We've kind of closed off this side. I'm gonna turn on a big fan to try and help. But yeah, in the last video, we weren't prepared. Well, that's better. I mean, it's still got a decent amount of stuff, but there's a little bit at idle now, where before it was a lot of it. It's still burning oil, but that could just be a stuck ring or something. Sounds good though. Hey, it'll run on its own now. This is just regular idle. Okay. Well, so the next plan that we have for this is we're gonna take the engine out, and we're gonna go over and look and see what oil leaks we have or any other stuff, replace those. And then what I'm gonna do for the smoking, what we're gonna try is I'm gonna try Marble Mystery Oil in the cylinders. And so that should free up any stuck rings, and sitting for a long time, the rings are on the sides, oil, so on and so forth, they could get stuck, which means that they're not gonna be working as much as they could, which also makes sense with me revving it and there being more smoke that comes out. So more crankcase pressure, so on and so forth. The next thing is pull the engine. Oh boy. Well, hey there. It's time to pull the engine out of the Porsche. So we're just going to be pulling this thing down, which these all pretty much just come down as a unit. And then you mess with it after that. This is the little cubby hole with the shifter in it, and then some of the wires that go up over the transmission. I've got almost everything disconnected, everything that I can. There's one wire or something that comes up from underneath that I'm going to have to disconnect. I just can't see it right now. So everything on this side, hoses, fuel lines, wires, and all that stuff. Everything on this side, I even made sure that the AC was undone before I pulled it off, because it does have a compressor. I got everything underneath the car as well. Axles off, which are just nice because they just unbolt. The clutch cable. I got the shifter disconnected inside the car. I got the starter out because there was a couple things on top of it that I had to undo. And these little heaters which go into the car, they use the exhaust heat, not the exhaust gases, just the heat off of the headers to warm up the car when it's cold out. Isn't that interesting? I always wondered how air-cooled cars had heat. Well, we got the engine out, and I pressure washed it twice because it needed it for sure. We went over, looked at everything we need, got a gasket list and so on and so forth. The clutch looked horrible, you know, front and rear main seal stuff. Little parts here or there. It's not a horrible amount of parts, but I am going to pull the spark plugs because we're going to do those too. We're going to look at the cylinders to see how they look, and then we're going to do Marble Mystery Oil in the cylinders to try and, you know, make them fresher. I also took off the valve cover. and we're going to do a valve adjustment in there, but the engine looks pretty good inside. So there's literally nothing in there that looks bad. So I'm going to, right now, I can't say that the valve seals are good, but also with how that looks in there, I can't say that they're bad. So we're going to do the Marvel Mystery Oil and whatnot, but I ordered all the parts, get this thing back together. Oh, you do not know how hard that was to do. Well, what you see here is what I had to do to get this spark plug out of this cylinder. Because the timing cover and everything here and how tight that is, I'm sure they make a special, you know, Porsche, this is the socket you use for that. I don't have that and I didn't want to wait. Actually, grinding all this down still wasn't enough. I don't know if you can focus on it, but like right there you can see some gouging happening. Right there you can see some gouging happening on it rubbing a little bit in there. It's not the end of the world, but before I put these back together, I'm going to grind this a lot more because this needs to be a lot smaller up here than what we have. The other side being all nice and open like this, wonderful, no problem. You can just use a regular socket if you want, happy days. This side, no. Regular socket, that is not big enough for that because it is a 13/16 or 21 millimeter. And yeah, this has to go in there crooked and it hits on both sides. It hit down here on this side and it hit up here on that side. So this little spot right here is kind of screwy and I'm not happy with having to make a tool or having a super special tool for just spark plugs, but oh well, after I grind this enough, we should be more than fine. So if you have a really good grinder wheel, just a regular crappy 13/16 from anywhere will work. You just gotta grind it a lot. I'm pulling the spark plugs out. So one, we can look at them and kind of get an idea of how they look, because even these two are different. You can see they're drastic there. And then we're gonna look inside the cylinders with the Schlong that we have and see how the cylinders look. And then we're gonna take some of that Marvel Mystery Oil, pour it in there. Since this is a flat 6, we're just gonna do a couple capfuls in each cylinder, let them sit, and that'll free up any of the rings that we might, oh yeah, that one's, it's got some fuel on it. Yeah, that one's pretty dark. That front one didn't have much on it. We'll see what the other 3 look like. And I'm hoping that the other 3 come out without me doing much more grinding on my socket. Ooh, hey, that was not how it went on the other side. I promise you that. We struggled for a minute. And I was like, this is a spark plug. Why am I doing this? Should I continue working on cars if I can't get a spark plug out? That's, yeah, that's like the other ones. All right, let's see what these cylinders, I actually haven't looked in here yet, so y'all are seeing with me for the first time. What? We'll see what stroke we're at too for, oh yeah, we got a lot of oil in here. So most likely that's just from rings being stuck and whatnot. And it does look rather old. I mean, the cylinder walls look good. I don't have anything going on with them. So we're gonna pour some of that Marvel Mystery Oil in here. That way we can get...
Laying on the side there?
Yep, that is oil right there because, you know, the piston is sideways. But it's just one of those things when cars sit, oil can, you know, sit down there. The rings will get stuck in one spot with oil sitting, and depends on if they actually drained all the oil or if it leaked out over time, so on and so forth. But it would make sense that the rings are stuck because, you know, it sat for however long. I mean, everything else on this doesn't look terrible. We just have a bunch of oil, which we'll get out with the Marvel, but we're going to add more oil in it right now. But how do these ones look? So these valves are open, same oil, which those 2 spark plugs had a bunch of oil deposits on them. What's the top look like? Looks the same. So these 2 cylinders look the same. This one, very little oil compared to the other ones, which would be why this spark plug actually looks better, has less oil on it. What we got up there? Okay. Yeah, so we're still going to put some Marvel in every cylinder regardless, because it's only going to help. In this one, yep, full of oil. Well, not full, but you know what I mean. We got some built up there. Yeah, I mean, the cylinder walls still look good. It just looks like, you know, these rings got stuck. This one has less. Okay, so that one's just got a tiny bit down there. This cylinder had the best looking spark plug out of all of them. And so we're gonna see how. Also a very, very small amount. I did see the valves were open. Let's just, where are we at? Where are we at? I mean, up in there, it does not look like there is any oil coming from behind the valve, and the valves are dry, which we'll have to move the engine if we want to see the other ones. But like I said, they, come on, there we go. It, everything in here looks fine. Let's actually see. I wonder if we can see, other way. You see the valve seals this way? Oh, it looks pretty well oiled. It didn't look cracked or anything. You see a little spring in there. Where we go? Where we go? Yeah, there's the valve seal. Looks intact. This one had a bunch of oil in the cylinder. Oop, come on. Well, you can see the spring on there holding the valve seal in, the rubber valve seal. None of that seems horrible, so we're gonna play the assuming game here and assume that the rings are bad. Not bad, but stuck, because they've been sitting for a long time and rings do that. I'm gonna go get some Marvel and we're gonna dump that in there and let it sit for probably a day or more. Remember, I did say a couple capfuls. I got the last bit poured in. I'm gonna leave it sit. We are waiting on parts, so once we get parts, we'll have a putting together video for you, because right now, we could just continue filming us sit here and waiting, but I have stuff for like the Prelude, and some things showed up for my Evo, so I think we're gonna go do that instead. Thanks for watching, subscribe, do all that other stuff.